struggled with feeling like I'm not good enough. My mom didn't want me, so my great-grandma brought me up. I love my great-grandma, and I'm grateful for everything she's done for me, but I can't help but feel like a burden. Instead of enjoying her retirement, she was taking me to school and struggling to find the money to pay for my school trips. The one thing I've always felt like I had going for me is my looks. I'm pretty, and I have a naturally curvy figure. I know that the boys notice me, and sometimes I like this. It makes me feel like I'm worth something, even if they only like me for the way I look and not actually for me. Men haven't always treated me very well. I've put my trust in the wrong people, and it's led me to being abused. All I've ever truly wanted is for someone to see my worth, but I just feel like they've taken advantage of me and used me. I met my boyfriend Jay online. He lives in Philadelphia, and I live in DC, so I knew the distance wasn't ideal, but I really liked him. I have cousins in Delaware, so whenever I visited them, he would drive and see me. At first, he was so sweet and caring, and he listened to me. Like, really listened. I felt like I could talk to him about anything, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was worth something. When he asked me to be his girlfriend, I immediately said yes. The problem was that the sweet guy I was talking to online soon changed into someone who could be aggressive and thoughtless. I didn't like this version of Jay, but I was afraid of losing him. When he asked me to send him nude pictures, I sent him some, even though I didn't want to, as I didn't want him to be mad at me. One time, he asked me to send him nudes, but I was out with my friends. I told him I was busy, and he sent me a horrible message telling me if I didn't send him a nude pic right that instant, he would post the pictures I'd previously sent him online for everyone to see. I was so afraid that he'd follow through with his threat that I rushed to the restroom so I could send him a picture. As soon as I sent it, he went back to the nice version of himself and told me I looked sexy. A week later, a girl messaged me on social media and told me that she had spent the night with Jay. At first, I accused her of lying, but then she sent me a screenshot of the messages he'd sent her where he'd thanked her for an amazing night. My heart instantly sank. I loved Jay and didn't understand how he could hurt me like this. I rang him up and confronted him about it. At first, he denied it and was mad with me. But then, he confessed that he cheated on me more than once with multiple girls. He said that I was hot, but that's all I was good for. I was devastated, but I didn't want to break up with him as I didn't want to lose him. When his best friend Rayshawn sent me flirty messages, I replied. He ended up taking me out on a date. He drove from Philadelphia to see me. I know that it was wrong of me to date Jay's best friend when I was still his girlfriend, but I was hurting and I wanted him to hurt too. Jay found out, but he didn't seem that bothered. He just demanded more nudes as an apology. I stayed with Jay and his controlling behavior for a whole year. By this point, my confidence was very low and I felt worthless. I was too afraid to leave Jay as he'd convinced me that I didn't deserve any better. It was only when my friend Donna came around and saw me in an emotional mess because Jay was demanding nudes and I didn't want to take any that I realized I couldn't carry on like this. With Donna's support, I finally found the courage to end things with Jay. He added a bunch of people, including some of his friends and my friends, to a group chat. Then he told everyone my deepest secret, that when I was younger, I was abused. This was very hurtful, as I told him this in confidence, but he didn't stop there. He told the group that I deserved to be abused, as it was my fault men wanted me, as I'd been the one to seduce them. He finished by saying that he only wanted me for my body, nothing more, and called me horrible names. I was knocked out by all his cruel lies and dirty words. My friends instantly left the group, but it was too late, as they now knew my secret. I was left feeling humiliated, betrayed, and alone. I felt so worthless that I didn't want to be alive anymore. I could barely bring myself to leave the house. I knew I was pretty on the outside, but on the inside I felt ugly, and it was all because of Jay. In the end, I just sat there in my pajamas and cried for most of the day. Donna came round and dragged me to the doctors. They put me on medication, and it's helping. I started to leave the house again, and I went back to school. I was feeling a lot more positive on everything, but then Jay messaged me. He was really sweet and apologized for everything bad he'd said and done. At first, I tried to ignore him, but his words sucked me in. We're now back together, and he hasn't asked me for any more nude pics. I'm living in fear that the mean Jay will reappear and undo all of my hard work to feel better. A part of me still loves Jay, but I also don't want it to be like it was last time. I deserve to be treated better than that. I really need your advice, as I'm so confused and I don't know what to do. Should I stay with Jay and hope that he really has changed and it'll be different this time?